We haven't done a video like this in quite some time, but this is Tamaki here, and joining me today is Dan.
Hello.
So, Dan, you don't really know what I'm going to talk about today, do you?
No, all I know is it's a game that didn't come out.
Yeah. I put it on my Twitter, probably against my better judgment, that Nintendo was working on this big license project.
Mm,
And honestly, I just put that on Twitter just because I was so excited learning about this.
yeah.
Now, I'm not a particularly big fan of the license in question that we're going to
Mm,
talk about in a moment, but
mm,
I was also excited to have found this out and to be learning about it and talking to the people who actually worked on it. So I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of gauge your reaction, and
mm.
you can be all kind of fish out of water here. Who can ask You can ask me questions about it, and then I can answer them. And yeah, I thought it might be a cool idea to do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm the anticipation is building the more you talk about it without
Oh,
talking about it at the
okay,
same time.
okay. So let's stop beating around the bush.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read for you like the first, like very opening of the article. The article, as of right now, is yet to go live. It will go live on February 9th, and this is the evening of February 8th that we're recording this. So Dan has no idea what this is, but I was the person who wrote this, so well, obviously I do. Okay, so I'm just gonna read the very first opening. Okay, so. In 1998, Nintendo of America's internal team, Nintendo Software Technology, developed a pitch to lock down exclusive access to the Harry Potter rights. Had it been successful, Nintendo would have secured the rights to produce all adaptations of the book series for the indefinite future in video game form, preventing, potentially, the eventual movie adaptations from being created altogether.
Wow, the actual movie altogether. Jesus.
Yeah,
So this is
so
before the film. This is when it was just the books.
yeah, so like The Philosopher's Stone, the first one the book came
Mm,
out in 1997,
mm.
big success, and then J.K. Rowling, not Rowling. By the way, I learned today that it's pronounced Rowling. So there we go.
Mm.
J.K. Rowling put the license up for sale in 1998, and as you may know, Warner Brothers was the company that got it,
Yeah.
right? But I've been talking to some people who worked on this pitch, and it was just he describes it as just an insane week in the late 90s where the license goes up for sale, and then suddenly all of these media companies from all over the world, all different walks of life and different business types really,
Yeah.
are all on it straight away, bidding and submitting pitches to the writer to gain the license.
Mm.
And there were all sorts of ideas. A lot of people think it was just film companies going for the license, but no, it was Nintendo as well, which is
Wow.
just crazy. And
Yeah.
as I said, I'll just reiterate that they wanted to take the books and release video game adaptations of them as the book series continued. They
Yeah.
would it would coincide with the launch of each book.
With no intent or knowing of any films. It was just going to be
No,
for
no, no,
games
no, no. Remember,
before the films. Yeah.
these pitches were totally separate.
Mm.
Like this is before we knew Warner Brothers wanted to do films.
Hmm.
Like you could have guessed that maybe, but Nintendo was just in their own bubble, working. Oh, this is some license that's up and coming. We should make video. We could buy this and
Yeah.
make video games off it.
Yeah.
So that's where Nintendo was in the situation. Meanwhile, you have all these other companies. I've learned some of them were Disney, obviously Warner Brothers. Who else? Or Universal as well is another
Mm.
big company that could have gotten the license. And Warner Brothers locked it down eventually for I think it was a sum of about £1 million, which
Is
is
that
about
it?
yeah. It doesn't sound that much nowadays,
Yeah.
but Harry Potter wasn't as big
True.
then.
Yeah.
You could argue, well, I don't think it's arguable really that the films were what made it what it
Yeah.
was,
Mm.
that
Mm.
made it this sensation. So yeah, I just think that's crazy. We've got some pictures of it, of Nintendo's kind of vision for it,
Mm.
and it was being worked on by Nintendo Software Technology, who made games like Ridge Racer 64, Bionic Commando, and at the time, essentially they were working on a few different games. They were working on I think it was the Game Boy version of Crystalis, which is an RPG game, Bionic Commando, and Racer 64 at the
Mm.
time in 1998. And so this order comes in from the upper echelons of Nintendo saying, right, everyone stop what you're doing, pause development on all these games. You're all going to work on Harry Potter pitches. They go away, split the company into two, basically, the studio, I mean. And one was working on a pitch for a third-person adventure game, and the other was working on like a spin-off title based around Quidditch, right? So just shower any questions if you have any, by the way.
So it was going to be a separate game. Was just going to be a game for Quidditch, which actually did get its own game eventually.
Yes, it did.
I'm finding it hard where to start in terms of like.
Yeah, it's
where
so
this
bizarre.
led.
It's so bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, some people might say, well, what's this about Nintendo locking down all the rights? Like, the film rights and the video game rights are different. But no, Nintendo wanted it all. They wanted the film rights as well. They wanted the whole package. They wanted to buy it all and own it themselves. So
Could you imagine how different it would have been if they did?
Yeah, like, I don't think really...
Harry Potter and Smash Brothers. Think about it.
Nah, it wouldn't have, I don't think it would have been like that, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of extent, but... Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about, like an alternative reality where this went through, and all the Harry Potter games, all the Harry Potter books were made into games instead of films. It's such a like just mind bending thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'll send you some pictures and have a look.
Right, yeah, because I've not seen any of this. So
okay. So this is one image of the Hogwarts Express.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know if it's my internet or something. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a bit more cartoony than the actual Hogwarts Express, or even the one seen on the cover art.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I think it's on Philosopher's Stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is on the cover art of Philosopher's Stone, I believe, the original one anyway. So what I've heard from the people who worked on this was that there was a bit of like an internal debate in the team about how to realize Harry Potter in video game form. Quite literally how to draw him and all that kind of thing. The artists, there was a bit of squabbling going on. Like the main source of this information said that he was pushing for a realistic, kind of art style based upon the original cover art for the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah. Which seems sensible. And also, J.K. Rowling was talking about the time that she wanted, like, if she was going to make a movie, it would be an all British cast, and she was very like pushing the Britishness of it, But Nintendo, the management of Nintendo and specifically Nintendo Software Technology were pushing like a more kind of manga kind of character.
Oh, right, yeah. I can see where the clashes might have happened then.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there was some disagreement about that, and unfortunately, we don't have any of the character art because Nintendo would not allow these people to release it. But we have art of the Hogwarts Express. I'll send you an image of Hogwarts itself in a sec. Tell me what you think.
I can imagine the depiction of Hogwarts would vary quite a bit because there was never, I don't think, any front like cover art.
No.
Depicted.
It is quite different. Have a look at it.
Wow, yeah, like it's on top of a mountain. That's
that
actually looks cooler. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think I quite like that as well.
Like the way that it has the winding road going up the mountain.
Yeah, it's very different, very cool. Yeah. So there's a bit of disagreement about that, but eventually it turned when they pitched it to the writer. It had grown into a more Japanese, more manga kind of Nintendo looking art style apparently. And one of the people who worked on it was Adi Granov, who's now a Marvel comic book artist.
Ah, right, okay.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They initially wanted, essentially, the pitch involved, they wanted to develop it firstly on Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance, and then a version of the first book game on the GameCube, right? Which was still, I believe at the time, still like in preliminary planning at the time for Nintendo.
You said this was 98, wasn't it? So
yeah, 98. But that was, internally, like they knew it was going to be on Nintendo's future platform.
Right, yeah.
And it would have essentially meant that like future Nintendo platforms further down the line, assumedly, would have gotten to the Wii had this went through,
Yeah. We might have actually got a decent Harry Potter game on the Wii.
Yeah, I believe there were some like pretty good Harry Potter games.
Yeah, I liked Chamber of Secrets personally. It's the only one I actually have played, so maybe
I haven't played a lot of them, but I remember like quite fond memories of playing the first one on PC.
Oh yeah, I played the first one on PS1. Tell a lie. Yeah, I played a
Yeah,
lot of
it's the
that.
same game.
That
Yeah,
was as far as I went on when it comes to Harry Potter games. I don't think I played anymore.
yeah.
I just remember the Wii ports of Harry Potter on the Wii were awful.
Really?
From what I remember reading at the time when they came out in like 2007 or whatever it was.
I remember eventually. Well, to continue what we're saying, the reason why Nintendo in the end didn't get the license was simply because they were kind of just outdone by all the other pitchers, right?
I thought you were going to say that, yeah.
Because Nintendo at the time was only really into video games. That was their area, and that's what they want to do, exclusively video games. Whereas Disney and Universal and Warner Brothers could offer them, they could offer them not only video games but TV, film,
Yeah.
pretty much all these other mediums that Nintendo really couldn't stretch to.
I'd imagine they had probably more money than Nintendo back then.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Especially like back then, they would have had much greater resources.
Pre-Pokemon boom, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And so Warner Brothers got the license for the films and everything else.
Yeah.
And then they gave the license to Electronic Arts, who from the very beginning made all of the Harry Potter games.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers weren't publishing games back then, were they?
No, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think? That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I mean, yeah, it does boggle the mind of like the concept of Nintendo could own the license to Harry Potter,
Yeah.
like they owned the license to James Bond at one point, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I say owned, they just had just GoldenEye really, but
Yeah, they had access to it. Yeah, so how about that? A world without Harry Potter films.
yeah, could you actually? Yeah, I didn't even think about that concept. Like the fact that Nintendo essentially lock it down to make have no films.
Yeah, it's just kind of a mind-bending alternative reality to think about.
I mean, I'm guessing this didn't get any further than pretty much this kind of concept level.
Yeah, well, there was some like mock game demos done, like with animations and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was any real kind of meaty game development done. Just mostly conceptual stuff to convey to the writer. This is how we do it in video game form, and these are all our ideas.
Could you imagine like the Mario 64 team? Like, after you finish Mario 64, you can go on do a Harry Potter game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was something I didn't expect on a Sunday evening.
So if you've enjoyed our babbling, you can continue to listen to it over on Unseen64's Patreon. We do an exclusive podcast for all the patrons. Where we just talk about unseen games like this. Recently we did one where we talked about Ubisoft's secret Wii U game, Metroid 3DS, and Zombie U2. So if you like us, you want to support the website and help our research, help keep the site online, then that's the place to do it. Toss us $1 and you can get a free access to all our podcasts.